So last night I was sitting in Xenos' stream at the same time I was sitting in llamatodd's, at the same time I was sitting in a Sprout. And I was tabbing between them on audio, and I had 2 active at any time, and I was in all 3. And because that's how I watch Twitch late at night when I can't sleep, because I just oversaturate myself. And then I'm like, why am I so awake? So
I'm stimulated.
What's funny is Glenn Angel was in 2 of them. And it's like, I see you, Glenn. So if you have not watched Glenn's ASMR job video, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
He has all of the jobs present how they would tell you about themselves ASMR style. It is so funny. Has me dying laughing. Like I kind of want to reach out to him and just be like, how do we what do I have to do? Is there any interest? What level do I have to shout you out or support you or donate to your stream to get you to make our next GIF as the ASMR dancer? His ASMR dancer has me cracking up, and I am not a dancer. It's wonderful. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So, but in Larry's stream and in Xenos' stream, it really contrasted with the new Sprout because the Sprout was level 50.
Okay.
She's brand new to the game.
Yeah.
And is so excited.
Right.
Right now, it is her second most favorite game of all time. And she comes from being like a Breath of the Wild streamer.
Got it.
So that is, we are passing games that we have no business passing. Okay? llamatodd is making the most of a situation that is where we are.
Right. No
Great
ultimate
game.
raid,
We're excited.
done everything.
Find something to do.
Yeah.
Xenos is complaining about
The game.
I don't like Leviathan Unreal. Why'd you pick Unreal? Housing is garbage. Lack of Ultimate is garbage. The community is dead. The Party Finder tab is dead as I scroll through it. I can't find healers. Healing is dead. The game is in a crap state. The developers aren't listening. Why do we play this crap game? I am watching all 3 streams at the same time in the same patch cycle.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know what the topic is there. And then we'll get back to crafting, guys. But like, that is 3 people who clearly care about the game and are putting their time and energy there. And so a moment of saying you don't like the game doesn't mean your whole life has to be not liking the game.
Right.
Xenos is a content creator around Final Fantasy XIV. He clearly finds value in the game, or he would play something else. His community is the exact same way. But there's frustration there, and I don't think that frustration is totally based out of nothing.
No, it's what you've just described, and we're already recording because that was a perfect intro to the video itself. Because the topic itself is the curse of the theme park design, and it's clear in how you approach the theme park. The new Sprout. Do you want to shout them out for their real quick? Do you remember who they were?
Jahara, I think was her. We followed her.
Right.
So when she goes live again, we'll catch her.
We'll also try to include
and the
links.
video is brought to you by Nurtus too.
Nurtus
here on Twitch. Nurtus, thank you so much for supporting the video.
I'll try to make sure that everybody's links that Chris is mentioning in the description of this video, guys. Go check it out. Like, go give them some follows. Go engage in the conversation. One of the things that the live stream I think brings to that is in Xenos' case, or I'm just gonna say the Sprouts case. In those 2 cases, it's like there is a way that you can experience something for the first time. You can see and you can remember. You can live that nostalgia through the Sprout. You can discuss with the pros and the cons of the game itself. And in an active discussion, like when somebody sits down and tells me this game is perfect, it has no flaws, I go, I don't know if I can trust that because I don't think any game is perfect. But it's great when you see somebody find something that they love, whether it's like Chris is doing Crafting and Gathering. Right now on stream, we're actually filming this one live for our Wednesday post today. But the theme park design is fundamentally broken, and if nothing else has ever proven it, it's the year of COVID. Content is king, as Chris likes to say, and I completely agree with that. But the problems come down to is, well, maybe it's not even the design. Maybe I'm going to just blow my own kind of personal bias out of the water. Maybe it's more to the player, right? Final Fantasy XIV has sandbox-style elements. Xenos ranting about housing housing ends up being a sandbox element. You can do a lot with your house. It's your choice, your player choice that drives how it looks. There's lots of things that you can take advantage of, but as we've kind of covered already this week, and I even covered over on Ginger Prime, the housing system, and you on Mondays just get clicking a sign over and over again trying to buy a house. It's a broken system. So it's not definitely a perfect system by any means, but this isn't a housing video. This is a theme park design video. Like same thing with World of Warcraft. There is a discrepancy in the players, and the players span this entire spectrum from Sprout to Xenos in this case for 14. But we see this in WoW. We see this in every game where, especially longtime players who have, like Brian, everything leveled. And leveling is a big part of what I do in Final Fantasy games. Big part of what he did in 11. You have everything leveled, what's next? What's the next thing? And if there isn't a next thing, and if that's the one thing that I connect with, I have to go outside my comfort zone, and I have to choose to engage with these other things to see if I like them, or I can kind of, you can kind of rant and be frustrated at the game itself. I think 14, and I would love to see 14 have more sandbox style elements for us to engage with in the battle sense. We do have our sandbox elements. Blue Mage is a great example of that, but I want more. Like Brian wants more. Theme park requires that constant flow of content, and out of all of the things that we're talking about and been talking about on this channel for the last couple weeks, I think 14's is kind of the pinnacle, and this is my bias speaking, of the game design, because even Bellular going in saying, what the F is Final Fantasy doing? Because they're actually still releasing content. In a year where content is king, if you're not releasing content, your theme park dies. Like, oh, you haven't had a new attraction to the Six Flags theme park in a decade? Well, I'm glad, yay for the new sprouts that are just kind of wandering through and going like, oh, what, weren't the 90s and weren't the 2000s great? Yeah, they were. Nostalgia. But if you're not building anything new, anything sustainable, or putting in tools to let the player explore with their imagination and their creativity, you're the curated experience is going to struggle. Chris, you got a rebuttal, or do you wholeheartedly agree?
I mean, I agree with the vast majority of that. The problem is that, so all of the friction comes where expectations meet reality.
Oh, yeah.
All of the expectations in almost all aspects of life, disappointment comes from expectations meeting reality. And so you have two choices that, right? Reality can get better. Mm-hmm. It can. There are things in life that have just improved. There are aspects of the world that have improved. There are huge advancements in healthcare over the last 10, 20, 50, 100 years. There are huge advancements in technology, in logistics, in communication, in entertainment. There is innovation that just moves reality forward. We can also just lower our expectations. If you just go, well, I hope this game doesn't suck, you might be delighted. Because it's a really low bar, as opposed to when we build up hype around games and we say, this is going to be the greatest game of all time. It's going to change my life. Well, you set your bar so high that
Ashes
like
of
any
Creation.
form of reality,
Right.
You're immediately going to have friction. Ashes of Creation scares the crap out of me. Cyberpunk, it just didn't feel like it could win. Anthem did nothing but move expectations as a publisher. No Man's Sky was a marketing team going, oh, we're going to get your expectations up. And the developer's like, okay.
I've been in those meetings. I want to jump in on that aspect, though. I've been in those development meetings where the sales team or the marketing team, they come in and they're like, I just had the best conference. We got 100 new clients lined up. They love this new feature. I go, new what now? And what does it do? You just promised like $200,000 worth of development and you need it by Monday? I guess you're going to learn to code with me. Let's go. I've been in those meetings, sales and PR and marketing. And that's why when companies get it right and everybody's kind of in sync, gamers feel it. They feel the impact right away.
Yes.
When it's out of sync, that's where it's like the devs are awfully quiet. And then it's like, yeah, they are, because they're working their asses off. And they're freaking scared because it's like, oh God, I hope this works. And game development in and of itself is even harder. I hired a lot of guys out of Gearbox because they just got tired of the cycle. And you do. And when you go with underpaid positions because you're passionate about what you're making, because you're making cool stuff, like it's easy to have that balance easily shift over. And when PR and marketing and you start seeing, and I think it happens more and more as the company can be established. We saw this hubris with Square Enix with Final Fantasy XIV itself. Now, one of the things that I really respect about 14 is that Square Enix said, we messed up, and they worked to fix it, and they are one of the exceptions to the rule in that regard.
Yoshi P does a great job of just telling us how it is. Now, the problem is that, so talking about these chats, yesterday in those kind of two extremes, let's just talk about Jahar versus Xenosis.
Yeah.
Jahar has no idea who Yoshi P is.
Right.
So, oh yeah, I hear great things. Everybody's so nice. I love it here.
Yeah.
Great. That means that he's not there to tell her about the burnout that might come. He's not there because she doesn't know she needs him. The other side is Xenosis, where there is so much information in that chat. There is so much information in his group, who is blasting through extreme and savage clears out of boredom.
Yeah.
And they know so much about this game that they don't tune into live letters and patch notes and developer blogs and interviews anymore because they know it all.
Yeah.
And so 80 to 90% of everything that's covered is rehashing things, restating things. It's things we've seen before. You and I at this point can almost predict the first 8 out of 10 questions at every Q&A and their answer because we've covered them for years now. There is a pattern to it. Sometimes Mr. Happy literally puts out a video that says, let me tell you the pattern. And it's a video about what's coming. He doesn't see the future. It's a cycle. And we've been part of the cycle. And we're in the cycle hanging on to that last 10 or 20%. And so his chat doesn't tune in. So they don't get the response to why Ultimate was really delayed. And so his chat went off on a whole rant last night about Ultimate was delayed because they care more about people that have 28 houses than Ultimate.
It feels that way.
What?
It feels that way. It's not true. It feels
that way.
But the emotion and the
what
feeling.
He said.
Right.
He communicated it with us, but you have to hear him to get that communication.
Gamers, we're hungry. Gamers are hungry right now. And it's even with 14. I'm hungry with 14. I'm enjoying, actually, surprisingly, I'm really enjoying the content that we got with 5.5. I'm not playing it like every day because in my mind, I'm like, I got a 6-month marathon. You know, I got 6 months, and I want to make sure that when Endwalker drops, that I am just dying to play. I'm dying to uninstall games. Like, I want Endwalker. I cannot wait for that expansion. I want to get to that point, and I want to be excited. I don't want to get to that point and be like, well, I sprinted every day for 6 months. I just want to get this thing done. I want to enjoy it, like just kind of like when you work so hard and then you can take a vacation and you're just like, this is the final chapter. This is should, I hope, answer all of these core questions, introduce a whole new way forward. But when it comes down to it, what's going to be happening, what's going to be really interesting to see in terms of community structure when it comes to Final Fantasy XIV over this next 6 months is what we've been saying on the channel for years. At least we're open and honest. I like, if nothing else, you can call us what you want. Like, we're not going to sit here and sugarcoat it for you. We're going to think, I'm predicting we're going to see more and more friction, because one of the cool things that will happen is that this game will continue to invite new players in. Yoshi P and Square Enix's goal is to do that. They really want to make this great game grow to 30 million. I think the last number they announced was 22. So we know that there's going to be, at least their goal is to bring in another 8 million players worldwide. That means 8 million new sprouts coming in, checking out this incredible theme park for the first time. A theme park with a lot of veterans who've been hungry and asking for things that also, on top of a year of a pandemic, have had things cut. We lost the Ultimate Raid, which we're not participants in, but I have actively been excited for Ultimate as a part of the 0.5.
It's good for the community.
Marketing is a huge thing. It's great for the raiders. Like, I want people to get what they want out of this game. I love it that much. I love the community that much. There's things I want that I haven't gotten, but that's fine. Like, I still get things that I'm looking forward to. We've made those videos. No need to rehash it here, but what we'll see is that friction. I think you'll see a lot of people kind of confused, because there's going to be that sense of drama. That like, if that Sprout was watching Xenos' stream, there would be a massive amount of confusion, and that's fine, because we see this constantly with the advent of social media and these games. Players want something to play. They want something to consume. They want a home. They want a home base, for a specific game. And when people find that, you got to hopefully find the sustainability with that. And some of the people that I've really appreciated are people who are finding interesting ways. Maining Blue Mage is your job. Yeah, you can't do the current raids, but there's a lot of back content you can go and take through that and do different challenges.
As long as your term main is, what do you spend the majority of your time focusing on? What is your priority? If that's your term main, then there are main crafters. There are main housing people. There are main, as long as your definition is, the moment I've cleared MSQ, what do I focus on? With every piece of energy that the content allows, that's your main.
The question then comes down to is that when's the right time to pull support and when's the right time to then communicate the reason why you're pulling that support. I don't find value.
You run the risk of crying wolf if you do it too soon. You quit WoW when you ran out of content, which means you can't quit WoW based on Ian's new announcement.
Yeah, I don't care.
You don't, but within 14, right? Comparing it to 14. If you quit 14 today, then when 555 drops, if you don't like what 555 has to offer,
can't quit again.
You can't quit again.
I quit again.
Well, now instead of last month you not getting my sub, you're not going to get my sub.
All right.
Okay. So you can only pull support one at a time. You have to come back to quit. The other thing is you can't come back and be mad that you didn't know what you were getting into. The first time you get into this game, it's all new. It's all a surprise. You have no idea what you signed up for. But so what I would encourage is sit down and say, what do I want from this game? If it's not delivering that, quit, create your list of reasons, and don't come back till that list is met.
Yeah.
Tell them on Twitter, tell them in an exit interview when you unsubscribe, tell them in a forum post why you quit, and then don't come back any sooner. And then the caveat to that is if they hit that whole list, come back. They did what you asked. Don't move the goalposts. These people are like, well, if they just did 6 dungeons per patch, I'd come back. And then they do 6 dungeons. You're like, well, I meant that they had to do Mythic Plus. And then they do Mythic Plus. And you're like, I meant that they had to have 4 ultimates. Well, screw you, man.
I think, if Xenos isn't taking that feedback and putting it on the forums, then he's just full of hot air. And if that feedback needs to go to. Well, I'm going to say that because you have the content creation side of things because it's scary and it's risky to sit here and say, I'm just going to go play something else, especially if that is a big part of your income. And I think that's something that hooks players into a certain game for longer. We've talked to many creators who said they wouldn't be playing 14 if they were not doing some piece of content creation around it. And I think that speaks volumes. I think that's where it's that feedback that Xeno has, that frustration that him and his chat have. They need to be communicating that outside of Reddit, but actually on the official forums. Because if that feedback isn't getting to the dev team, then all we're doing is just yeeting that information out into the void. I take all of my feedback, all of the ideas that I have, and I make sure that they're on the forums. Because that way it's there, and whether they take it and do what I want with it or not, I think that should be the first step before sitting here and pulling, I'm just out, because no information, nothing. You broke up with me out of the blue. All right, well, I guess
that's just... does play other games.
All right.
When I pull up his channel, he's recently streamed Resident Evil.
Oh, that's
he's recently played Warhammer Vermintide. He's recently played Outriders. He is not somebody who is saying, this is my only game I'm going to play, and then being mad at it.
Okay.
He'll go do something else.
That's good. That's good.
I would not group him in with people that we've seen in various games in content creation get so far in on one game and make promises. I'll never play anything else. This is the one game for me. I love this game. I'll never hate this game. No matter what they do, I will play forever. And then they build a community around that core set of values.
Yeah. We'll never talk about this game critically.
I was wrong. I lied, or I changed my mind, and then trust that their community will back them. And that's really scary for full-time creators. It's one of the reasons that you and I have always tried to make it clear that we play multiple games. Not because 14 is not our main game. Not because we're not happy for 14 to be the primary community that we spend our time in, we spend our associated with, that we have the most in common with our community with. Not because of that, but because we know there will be a day when 14 does something wrong. Shadowbringers happen to not really have very many of those days. Wonderful. Endwalker hopefully will have ideally none of those days. Wonderful. Okay, but perpetuity, infinity, that's a long time. And so at some point, Yoshi P is mortal. We may not believe it, but he's mortal. And somebody coming behind him may be very talented and very gifted, but may not be our taste.
Yeah.
It may take them time to grow into the role. They may have attrition. Some of the people leaving Blizzard are leaving, and everybody's like, oh, they're leaving because it's failing. And it's like, after 27 years of service, okay, well, what did we really expect? So maybe they're leaving today instead of 6 months from now because they're mad or because something changed. But at some point, people also retire.
Yeah.
Like some of these people leaving after 30 years, that's not attrition. That's just mortality.
We should applaud that, right? You know,
like
everybody.
I can't believe that guy at 58 wants to try something different. He's been doing this since he was 18.
Go nuts, man. The now I wanted to jump into an Infinite comment here saying Yoshi P has said it's fine to take breaks, go play other games, come back later to prevent burnout. That is something we adhere to. That's something we definitely echo and espouse. The only thing that I would say contradicts that viewpoint is the housing system in 14. That means basically the thing that you worked hard to get, you're gonna lose if you're going to do that, you know, and that's where that system in and of itself is the only thing that's antithetical to Yoshi P's.
That's why I've never tried to get one until I went full time.
Right, and now you're going full time.
Because I didn't want to be held hostage, but now I'm full time, and so now it's always going to be one day out of my week, regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. But great point, guys. And so that's kind of where it's like, don't get a house if you don't want to be able to take a break at some point, because you will lose that house during a break period. And so anyway, that's just going to be how it ultimately shakes out. The Sprouts versus Xenos aspect, I think it's going to be exciting. So if you're because the 14 community has a Sprout obsession, and they love watching people experience the story. I'm really happy to hear, and again, I can't remember the specific name, but we'll be included at the bottom. That they have been enjoying the game. They're at level 50. That's a real big roadblock. I mean, real big milestone for the game itself. When all of a sudden it's like, wow, all of this content starts opening up. Hopefully we'll see with Endwalker and the world gets back to normal, that we'll see things picking up steam, picking up speed, and that we could start seeing some really cool things to be excited about. Honestly, I think at the core of it, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here later this year. If nothing else, we don't have to wait long. May the 14th, 15th, and 16th is going to be an epic weekend for all of us, and it's Jahara. I'm hopefully pronouncing that right. Guys, we'll have Jahara's link in the description of this. Go check her out. Give her some love. Welcome her to the community, and hopefully she has a great, wonderful time with Heaven's Word. That's going to be a truly epic experience. But anyway, Chris, any final thoughts before we wrap up this epic video?
No. Thank you to Nertos for sponsoring this video. The way we do sponsors, we give it away. They just hang out and chat, and you can have a video sponsored by you. So thanks for hanging out.
Any hidden thoughts or statements that we
No, that'll be in today's videos. We're filming this afternoon.
Right. Guys, tune in Monday through Friday, 8 to 2 p.m. Central Time. Come hang out with Chris. Whether you like this video or not, if you liked it, come tell him. If you hated it, come tell him that Ginger is an idiot. So, anyway, guys, for Work to Game, my name's Brian.
My name's Chris.
Thanks for watching. Hopefully you have a fantastic day. We hope to see you in our next one, but until then,
take care.
I would argue Chris doesn't actually play World of Warcraft. He plays what World of Warcraft used to be. And that's the same way he played BFA. So, I don't know.